Yeah, we have pictures there too. Where in Africa were you?
I'm born in Zambia,
Wow.
and then I went to high school in Zimbabwe.
Wow, I
And
heard
then I
that's
lived in South Africa for 7 years before I
wow.
went to America.
We just had some South Africans. You were in South Africa, you said?
Yeah, I lived
Yeah,
in Joburg for
a
about
friend of mine from South Africa came over yesterday. We sat in the garden. They were telling us how amazing her husband does trips. He's Egyptian, and she's from South Africa. He takes Egyptians all the way to South Africa, and they have amazing, beautiful trips. And we can't wait to go on one. And it's yeah, I want
That
to go
was
see
my
some
dream to visit
penguins and
South Africa as well.
yeah,
But I
yeah.
didn't have the time. Yeah, I'd love to go to the, how do you say it, the live safari,
Uh-huh.
to see,
Yeah, I
catch
want to
all
go
the
on the
animals.
safari. I
And,
want to go see some
yeah.
penguins and some seals and some whales and do some
Mm.
shopping and sit by the sea. What else? Um, yeah, they
Nice
said it's
food.
just, huh?
Nice food.
Yeah, I heard very good food.
They have delicious food. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now we have to do once the COVID-19 thing scares over and we can get on a plane and travel again. We have to
Yeah,
discover.
I wish.
Yeah,
It's amazing,
inshallah, very soon.
incredible.
Oh, I'm going to have to come to Egypt. I've never been to Egypt.
Come on down. Come here.
Yeah, please come
Love to show
over.
you around.
Yes.
Yeah,
My
be
mom
lovely.
had a picture in Suez Canal.
Yes, my mum lived in Egypt. Yes,
Oh, really?
during the war. Yeah.
Oh my
And,
God.
Right.
so yeah, so
Wow.
I think she
Wow.
lived there for 2-3 years. So
I just heard you, Chrissy, saying you were over Sudan.
sorry.
You said you were
No,
over
the
Sudan.
program. My body is
The
my.
program. I
Right.
thought you was like visiting there.
Yes, yeah, I know. I was just working with some people from Sudan.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you visited. We just literally the board of Sudanese. You should come over.
Yeah, no, I just.
Very close by. Yes.
Is it?
Mm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just it's like not that far.
Speaking of Sudan, we have Dr. Rose with us. She's on, and Dr. Rose's husband's originally from Sudan. He's amazing.
Hi.
But he's an honorary Egyptian. We've given him the Egyptian citizenship.
Yeah, it's very
Hi,
nice,
how are
man.
you? Fine?
Very good. How are you, Dr. Rose?
Fine, thank you.
Thanks. We have with us today Rola. She's a special guest. Very nice and amazing to have her. One of our Egyptian celebrities and amazing performance artist.
Hello.
Hi, Rola.
Hi.
Is that
Hi,
the right
Rose.
to introduce you, Rola? Do I say singer? Do I say performing artist? Do I say, I don't know what's the right thing, like right way to introduce. Like,
Yeah, you can. I'm gonna open my video. Sorry, I was trying to fix something with the audio. Yeah, I'm a singer and early childhood music specialist. Yeah, singer and music teacher, I guess.
awesome.
Ooh.
Today actually, what I thought, because we're very kind of relaxed with these sessions since they are support group sessions. The purpose of these sessions, of course, if you allow me, I always do this kind of like in the beginning, the introduction. This is part of One4All. So One4All is a campaign. It's a community campaign. We as a community created this campaign to basically try to provide whatever support, resources to help people get through the COVID-19. So we basically found that using online tools like Zoom, we're able to reach a lot of people all over the world to talk about important topics, like our sessions every Wednesday from 7 to 9 is called Safe Kids. And the purpose of this session is to basically discuss techniques on how to keep our kids safe during this time. So it's not just keeping them safe from the virus, but keeping them safe from people that could harm them or getting the wrong information or too much information that scares them. And also, other things that could affect their mental health during this time. So our purpose is having healthy and alert children that are vigilant about protecting themselves from not just the virus, but any kind of danger that they may come across. So today we're very honored, of course, and we have Chrissy Sykes is one of our founders too for this program. She's been with us from day one, just like Ahmed and just like Dr. Rose. So now hopefully Rula, you'll be one of us too, you know, and this is basically an opportunity for us to discuss the very important topic of child abuse prevention. So in doing that, we're introducing, of course, Ms. Chrissy Sykes, the creator of the My Body is My Body program, to tell us a bit about the program and about how the program does provide tools that can help us to keep our kids safe. And maybe since we have Rula here today, it's amazing, maybe we can talk about the future of My Body is My Body. And maybe, you know, what it's going to look like. Hopefully it's going to, I want to use Egypt as a model. Not that I'm, you know, how should I say, I am a bit subjective to Egypt. So, of course, I would love to see Egypt as a model for the rest of the world to follow in terms of how we implement this program and how we, hopefully it will have a big impact on our society in bringing awareness to the topic and the issue of child safety or child abuse prevention, but also preparing our kids to protect and defend themselves. So without further ado, I will introduce Chrissy. I'll give the microphone to you, and then you can also introduce our guests after that once you, you know, take over. So it's all yours, Chrissy.
Thanks, Nancy. Well, we'd like to say thank you very much for everyone joining us today. And shall I just go into the My Body program?
Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, I'll give you a rough idea of what the program is and why we're doing this and why we're doing it in so many countries. Is because people do not talk to each other, to children, about child abuse or about any abuse. If it's happening, everybody wants to keep it quiet. Let's not let anybody know that this has happened in the family. And what happens is it gets buried in secrets. And we don't talk. And then our children grow up with terrible sort of mental problems, maybe relationship problems, and all sorts of things that affect our society, including the amount of people that are in prison. 78% of them are abused children. Prostitutes, most of them are abused children. People that, I haven't got my statistics here at the moment, but it makes a massive impact on our society if we don't deal with our children. So the idea of the My Body program is to give people a fun, positive, empowering way to talk to children about body safety. Rather than talking about child abuse, which is something we want to prevent, we want to teach children body safety and teach them that people do not have a right to hurt their bodies. They don't have a right to touch their private parts. And they don't have a right to do anything that makes them feel uncomfortable, because we want to empower children and say your body belongs to you. If we can start this at a very early age, even from the age of 3, teaching children you have a special body and you have private parts which nobody should be touching, apart from when you're young, mom and dad will bathe you. But as you grow up, you'll learn how to do that for yourself. And number 2, if you're sick or sore, you might have to go to the doctor might have to look there. But apart from that, nobody should ever be touching your private parts. And if they do, you say no and you go and tell somebody. And I think that just that one rule, before we go any further, that one rule can stop a lot of problems that we're having with our children. Because what you're doing by even approaching the subject is showing them that it's okay to talk about. We have to show people that we can talk about this freely without feeling uncomfortable, without feeling I don't know, sort of scared to approach this. We need to talk, and we need to let our children know that they can come to us and openly say something. The reason why I know this is because I was sexually abused when I was a child. Never ever told anybody till I was 30, because all the time I was growing up, I thought it was something that I had done wrong, that it was my fault, and that I grew up feeling that, you know, I wasn't worthy. I just wasn't a good person because I'd let this happen. And so many children grow up with that. So we have to talk to them about it. We have to approach the subject and show them that it's not a problem. You know, everyone has bodies, and if somebody does something that makes you feel uncomfortable, it's okay to say no. We have to give children that that empowerment, so that they know, okay, I don't like that. I can say no, and my mom and dad aren't going to get mad with me. You know, I say to parents, because with educating children, we have to educate parents just as much. So we have to tell parents that if your child goes somewhere, and as parents, we always say, oh, go and hug uncle, go and hug auntie, you know, do that. And then your child might go, no, I don't want to. And then you go, so no, go and do it. We mustn't do that, because we're forcing them into a situation and we don't know why they don't want to do it. Maybe that person makes them feel uncomfortable, or maybe that person's done something to your child that, you know, that has affected them. So we have to give a child that right to say, I don't want to do it. So children can go and give a handshake. They don't have to, you know, just, you know, be rude or anything like that, that you can say to them, just go and shake somebody's hand and say hello, that's fine, but we don't have to have the hugs and the kisses. A lot of people tend to do that, and I know a lot of people mean it very nicely and very warmly, but if people are feeling uncomfortable with it, we have to be able to say no. So so my suggestion to all of you that have children is talk to your children. Open the lines of communication. Ask them, has anybody done anything that made you feel uncomfortable or that you didn't want them to do? You know, talk about it and initiate the subject. It's easy. Do you want me to do one of the songs, Nancy?
Yeah, I think that would be great.
All right. I'm going to just shut my door quickly. Hang on.
Okay. And before we start with the song, I would like to ask Rola, of course, since this is your first time joining our session. I mean, what do you think about this from what you've heard so far? And do you think this is something that can work in Egypt? Do you think it's something that we need here? Do you think, what are your thoughts about it so far?
Definitely, I think this happens all over the world. And unfortunately here, since it's such a taboo subject, it's likely that a lot of kids have not spoken or talked to anybody about this if it happened to them. So this is encouraging and empowering, and they need this. We definitely need this here. I'm happy that you're doing this.
Thank you.
And we want to welcome also Dr. Hussein. He's joined us, and Mr. Ahmed. Welcome again. Thank you for joining us. Dr. Hussein and Mr. Ahmed, they're from Upper Egypt. So that's, and Mr. Hussein also, he's got some program, and Mr. Ahmed, they have a program called Darabni Shukran. So they do also online sessions where they train young people from all over Egypt in all different subjects, which is really to upgrade their skills and their capacity. So it's a great program, and they've been very interested also in this My Body is My Body. And so one of our target areas, of course, is Upper Egypt.
Great. Did you want to do anything in Arabic before I do the song?
Maybe I would just quickly summarize what you just said in Arabic very quickly. So طبعا أستاذة كريسي سيكس معانا النهاردة. هي مؤسسة أو هي الكريتور للبروجرام بتاع My Body is My Body. جسمي هو جسمي. وهي النهاردة طبعا جاية بتتكلم، بندي introduction للي ما عندوش لسه information عن البروجرام، هو عبارة عن ايه وايه ليه البروجرام مهم جدا ان احنا نعلم الأطفال ازاي ان هم يحموا نفسهم. والموضوع طبعا احنا ساعات ما بنحبش نتكلم في المواضيع دي، بتبقى مواضيع حساسة شوية، بس ان في خطورة لأولادنا لو احنا ما فتحناش التوبيك معاهم وما اتكلمناش معاهم. وساعات بيبقوا الأطفال بنلاقي منهم تصرفات ان هم مثلا، احنا كعرف يمكن في الكولتشر دايما روح سلم على انكل، روح احضن طنط، مش عارف ايه. فاحنا لازم نكون واعيين ليه الطفل متردد او خايف، ولازم نعرف برضو نقرا ده ان احنا ما نغصبش الاطفال لحاجه، لان ممكن يكون في اي حاجه احنا ما نعرفهاش. فبرضو نكون واعيين. طبعا رولا اكيد مستغربه ان انا اللي بترجم عشان العربي بتاعي اصلا مش كويس قوي.
لا برافو عليك يا نانسي، برافو.
ترجمه كده نص كم شويه.
لا كويس جدا.
فالحمد لله. فاحنا النهارده كريسي زي المرات اللي فاتت demonstrate الاغاني. طبعا البروجرام نفسه بتاع My Body is My Body عباره عن فيديوز واغاني، والفيديوز والاغاني دي it's a way. وممكن معانا استاذه رولا expert في early education and especially music education. ممكن هي كخبيرة تقول لنا برضو how إن إحنا ممكن بنوصل رسائل للأطفال عن طريق الميوزك. هل ده مثلا يعني وسيلة effective، يعني كتول effective إن إحنا نعلم الأولاد ونوصل لهم رسائل عن طريق الميوزك. ف to begin with هنرجع تاني لكريسي. هي demonstrate one of the My Body is My Body songs. هم دلوقتي حاليا 6 أغاني و6 فيديوز. Chrissy, you have the mic.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen so you can see the cartoon. Bearing in mind that when we do the cartoons for Egypt, they will be different. I've created a whole new girl to sing, and so yeah, so she'll be more Egyptian.
Oh, really?
Yes. Okay, can you see? There you go. Oh, no, I do full screen. Okay. It's my body, and nobody has a right to hurt me, 'cause my body is my body for me. Can you hear okay? It's my body, and nobody has a right to touch me, 'cause my body is my body for me. I've got 2 hands to feel, and 2 eyes to see, and 2 ears to hear what you're telling me. I've got 2 strong legs to take me where I go, and I've also got some private parts that I don't want to show. It's my body, and nobody has a right to hurt me, 'cause my body is my body for me. It's my body, and nobody has a right to touch me, 'cause my body is my body for me. I've got hair on my head I want you to see, and a label belly button in the middle of me. I've got a cute little nose and 10 little toes, and I've got a mouth to tell you what I want you to know. It's my body, and nobody has a right to hurt me, 'cause my body is my body for me. It's my body, and nobody has a right to touch me, 'cause my body is my body for me. Yes, my body is my body for me.
Thank you, Chrissy.
Yeah, so basically it's that easy to start the conversation. You play the song and you chat with the children. It just opens it all up, and you're ready to start talking about things and opening up this special conversation. The My Body is My Body program has 6 songs, and each song deals with a different subject. We deal with feelings with a song called If It Don't Feel Right, Don't Do It, which is something that, as I've told Nancy before, my kids who are all grown up still use that song. And whenever they're trying to make a decision, they say, if it don't feel right, don't do it. So there's that one, we play the what if game, where you give children scenarios of how to get out of difficult situations, or if somebody wants you to go and look for their puppy, you know, sort of tricks people use to try and get children to go with them. So give them scenarios and say, if somebody tries to do this with you, what would you do? I'd do this. And then, so that's the what if game. We then talk about who to tell if you've got a problem. So we can tell mums, dads, grannies, grandpas, aunties, uncles, older brothers and sisters, teachers, counselors, people that we do sports with. So we need to give children a bunch of safe people that they can talk to and tell if they've got a problem, because sometimes it's hard to talk to your own mom and dad because it's just such a difficult subject. So it's better maybe to open up with somebody else, and then they can help you tell your mom and dad. So we give children ideas on maybe writing it down on a piece of paper and giving it to somebody, or drawing a picture about how somebody's hurting you. So there's lots of different ways, and we need to show children that there are ways that they can do it comfortably. They can share their problems with various safe adults. There's a song called Love is Gentle, because we want children to know that love is supposed to be gentle and kind, and it doesn't hurt, and people shouldn't be sexually abusing you to say that they love you. And also one of the other very important songs in the program is Say No to Secrets, which is because, like I said earlier, that abuse thrives in secrecy, and we have to not let secrets hold all that information, and so the children don't get help. And the thing is that with talking to young women, and I'm talking about sort of women that have grown up and maybe even started having their own children, they have found out since they've grown up that they have been abused as children, sexually abused as children, and didn't know they were being sexually abused, because whatever was happening to them, they just thought, well, that's what happens. That's what whoever did it to me, that's what they do. And so we have to show children that it's not right. People don't have a right to touch your body. And so that as they grow up, and these women now are going through all sorts of traumas because of what they experienced as children, because they didn't know what abuse was. So, you know, there's so many factors that are affected by this abuse, and so many areas of our children's and adult lives that are absolutely affected. And the reason we have to do something about it, and we have to get people talking, is because there are over 1 billion children a year that are abused. That is the WHO statistics. So over 1 billion children, which is an amazing amount. So we know that probably in our adult friends, at least probably 50% of your friends have been abused in some way at some time. And I know through talking to people, even through talking to adults that have never expressed their abuse, just talking about it has helped them dramatically. And it's just not keeping that secret. So we come back to the keeping of secrets. We teach children, don't keep secrets. You can keep a surprise, but not a secret, because secrets often have a bad ending. Surprises for birthday parties and birthdays and Christmas and games and whatever always end in something fun. But secrets are usually have a darker side to them. So it's important to teach all 6 songs of the program so that we cover everything with the children and give them a really good grounding into being safe and being able to talk about abuse. Sorry, I've been speaking for ages. Sorry.
Oh, it's okay. Hopefully I'll remember everything. But to summarize again بالعربي طبعا هي كريسي كلمت عن الأغاني المختلفة ال6 أغاني وكل أغنية بيتكلم عن موضوع معين. في أغنية بتقول لأ للأسرار، فهي بتتكلم على الأسرار دايما مش دايما بتبقى حاجة كويسة. ممكن حد يقول لك ما تقولش لحد وده سر، غالبا بيبقى حاجه مش كويسه، بس في مفاجآت. يعني مثلا بابا بيقول للاولاد ما تقولوش بقى لماما ان احنا جايبين لها تورته وهنعمل لها يعني سربرايز وكده، دي اوكي، يعني احنا بنعلم العيال الفرق. بس لو حد عمل حاجه غلط وقال لنا بس ما تقولوش لحد او طلب مننا حاجه احنا عارفين ان هو المفروض ما نعملهاش، يعني لا، في الحاله دي لا، لازم نقول لحد. البروجرام بيعلم الأطفال مين اللي أنت ممكن تتكلم معاه، يعني مين الشخص، هما بيسموه safe adult، مين الشخص اللي أنت ممكن تتكلم معاه، سواء هو ماما، بابا، جدو، تيتا، المدرس، العميد، ضابط شرطة، يعني مين اللي أنا ممكن لو عندي مشكلة أو حد عمل فيا حاجة أقول لمين. المشكلة بتحصل بقى لو في حالة إن مثلا اللي بيعمل الأبيوس ده فهو الشخص اللي أنا المفروض ألجأ له، يعني دي بتبقى ساعات يعني الاكسبشن في الحته دي. في اغنيه love is gentle، يعني الحب دي حاجه ناعمه، يعني حاجه، يعني واحد بيحبك مش هيأذيك. لو هو بيأذيك وبيقول انا بحبك، لا هو مش بيحبك، لان الحب ده ما فيهوش اذى. الحب ده المفروض حاجه يعني كويسه. فبنعلم الاطفال يعرفوا الفرق بين الحب الحقيقي وان حد يقول انا بحبك عشان يستغلوا او حاجه زي كده. طبعا مهم ان احنا نتكلم مع الاطفال في الحاجه دي، في المواضيع دي، علشان يمكن احنا نكون خايفين نقول لا انا مش عايزه افتح عين ابني او بنتي عن ظروف عن الموضوع ده، بس للاسف الشديد ممكن حد تاني يفتح عينيهم، والشخص اللي هيفتح عينيهم ده للأسف يعني مش هيبقى نفس لو أنا مثلا قعدت ابني أو بنتي وشرحت لهم إن مثلا الدنيا دي فيها ناس مش كويسة، ولو حد طلب منك كذا اوعى تصور نفسك أو جسمك وتبعته لحد، اوعى يعني حد يلمسك، اوعى حد يشوف جسمك كده يعني. أنا طبعا قبل ما نرجع تاني أنا كنت عايزة أسأل like أسئلة للناس اللي معانا، يعني المشاركين معانا، علشان برضو نوصل لهل البروجرام ده ممكن يكون حاجة مفيدة للمجتمع بتاعنا كمجتمع مصري، وهل يمشي مع العرف، وكمان بخصوص الموضوع نفسه، يعني ازاي يعني تيجي من المدارس من المدرسين ولا تيجي من الأهل، هل التركيز يبقى على الأطفال الصغيرة ولا كل السن، هل يكون للبنات بس ولا للبنات والصبيان. بس هبدأ أول سؤال، لو تسمحي لي أستاذة رولا، كنت عايزة أسألك ليه ميوزك؟ يعني ليه نوصل الرسائل دي للأطفال عن طريق الموسيقى؟ يعني ليه ما نتكلمش معاهم؟ هل الموسيقى بتخلي الموضوع more effective? So Chrissy, before I start, I just said, I summarized and I said I would like to ask, you know, the participants a question, different questions related to whether this, how they see this program would work in Egypt. So I was asking Rola, why music? Yani, why send messages to children of such an important and serious topic and even taboo topic? Why use music to deliver that message? Just curious, as Rola is an educator and a music educator, what her thoughts are related to the Egyptian culture. Is it an effective tool to deliver a message to children through music?
الرسائل بتوصل طبعا أسهل وأسرع للأطفال من خلال الموسيقى. وممكن الأطفال يتعلموا حاجات كتيرة من خلال الأغنية. الأغنية بتوصل أسرع وأسهل وبتلزق في المخ، يعني بيفتكروا، ممكن يتعلموا منها حاجات كتيرة. الأغاني دي ممكن تعلم الأطفال أي حاجة من خلال أغنية، أسهل وأسرع.
So Rola was saying because through the song they can learn or they can pick up the message much quicker and easier, and they remember. So they can like maybe memorize the words of the song, so they remember the messages. It's easier for them to retain the information, to remember it. Did I translate correctly, Rola? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, that is the thing with, they always say, if you think back, you'll always remember the little songs that you learned when you were a child. You know, they're always there. And so if we can if you can think of a child growing up, rather saying, this is my body and you do not have a right to hurt me. You do not have a right to touch my private parts, or if they get older, sexually abuse me. That is a wonderful way for all children. And I'm not just talking about girls, I'm talking about boys too, because boys are sexually abused and we don't talk enough about it. But our boys are abused as well, and they need to know that they have a right to say no just as much as the girls. And so we have to protect all of them.
I wanted to ask actually Dr. Rose that question related to abuse. Traditionally, we generally think, oh, we have to protect our girls, and the girls are the most vulnerable and they're most, easy prey for predators and things like that. But what about our boys? يعني, what are your thoughts, Dr. Rose, بخصوص الموضوع بتاع الشباب الصبيان؟ احنا دايما بنبقى عايزين نحمي البنات، او الخوف ان البنات هم اللي هيتعرضوا للتحرش. قليل قوي ان احنا نسمع ان في ولد يتحرش او يعني فيه او كده. بس ايه رأي حضرتك في الموضوع ده من ناحية يعني اجتماعية؟
في الحقيقة ما فيش فرق بين الولاد والبنات في الجزئية دي. بنات زي الولاد والاتنين بيتعرضوا لنفس المشكلة، والاتنين مطالبين ان احنا نعلمهم ازاي يحموا نفسهم. يمكن احنا بس في المجتمعات الشرقية بنركز على البنات اكتر، لكن في الحقيقة الاثنين ممكن يكونوا بيتعرضوا، والمساوئ كمان اللي بيتعرض ليها الولد لما بيتعرض للتحرش او انتهاك او اي مشكلة بتكون صعبة جدا، وتأثيراتها فيما بعد مزعجة جدا جدا على الولاد. فالطفل بشكل عام تحت في سن ابتدائي بيكون الفروق مش كبيرة قوي. يعني كل بنقول احنا الفرق في الجنس يعني يبان السمات الذكورية او الأنثوية كل ما كبر في السن، لكن طول ما هم صغيرين هتلاقي الولاد والبنات بيلعبوا مع بعض عادي من غير ما يكون في مركزين قوي. حتى يعني ممكن تحس ان الولاد حابين يلعبوا في العروسه، احنا اللي بنحب نقول لهم لا مفيش داعي، انت ولد ما تلعبش بالعروسه، فابتدى يبقى في عرايس على شكل ولاد. البنات لما بيروحوا يلعبوا بالكوره او بيلعبوا بالمسدسات والحاجات دي كده بنقول لهم لا انتوا بنات العبوا بالعروسه، احنا اللي بنوجه شكل اللعب. لكن بشكل عام لا، الاطفال كل ما صغر السن بيلعبوا عادي. لو حضرتك حابه تترجمي.
So she was, Dr. Rose was saying that no, boys and girls are the same. They both are, prey to abuse, and that there shouldn't be a difference. I mean, and society should address the issue with both boys and girls to protect them both from being abused. And sometimes society is the one that defines the roles. Like she was saying, sometimes, even boys, they want to play with dolls or something. And, people say, no, what are you doing? You're a boy. You shouldn't be playing with dolls or something. We're very much about, roughening our boys and keeping them very masculine and, tough and things like that. So, but actually, I wanted to ask also Dr. Hussein, يعني في رأي حضرتك بالنسبة للصبيان هنا في مصر، يعني هل سهل للولد إن هو يقول لأهله أو يقول لحد مثلا إن هو حصل له abuse؟ يعني هل من الطريقة بالذات إحنا بنتكلم على culture conservative قوي زي في الصعيد، هل سهل الولد مثلا يروح لوالدته أو والده ويقول له مثلا حصل حاجة أو كده؟ وهل يعني لو هو كان في بروجرام زي ده في يعني في الصعيد ده ممكن يمشي؟
مساء الخير دكتورة نانسي، ومساء الخير عليكم جميعا.
كان السؤال بالنسبة للصبيان يعني في الصعيد بالذات، يعني هل سهل إن ممكن ولد لو حصل له أي تحرش أو حاجة سهل إن هو ممكن يروح يقول لأهله أو يقول لحد إن حصل حاجة أو كده، والمجتمع هيبص له إزاي، أو الأهل أو المدرسة أو يعني أنت رأيك إيه في النقطة دي؟ دكتور حسين؟ انا بعمل لك unmute تقريبا.
طب كده صوت كويس؟
صوت كويس.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته، مساء الخير عليكي وعلى كل ضيوفنا الأكارم. وبصراحة يعني احنا بنستفيد جدا، وبنستفيد أكتر من مس كريسي، بتتكلم بثقافة أجنبية، لكن في تقارب كبير بينها وبين الثقافة المصرية. والنهارده كمان عندنا دكتورة رولا ودكتورة روز ما شاء الله يعني، والمستر أحمد. يعني فعلا الاستفادة عميقة. النقطة اللي بتتكلمي فيها دكتورة نانسي، موضوع إنه الطفل سواء ذكر أو أنثى يتعرض للتحرش، طبعا الاثنين وارد يتعرضوا للتحرش. الولد في الصعيد في الفترة الحالية لما أصبح فيه يعني وعي عند السيدات، وأصبح كثير من البرامج بتستهدف التوعية التربوية للأم. الأم بتصبح يعني من هو صغير الطفل بتحكي معاه، بتسمح له ان هو يحكي لها اللي بيحصل معاها سواء في المدرسه او في الشارع او في لو مثلا لو في مركز النادي او كده يعني. فالطفل لو هو متربي على انه يحكي لوالدته، لا طبعا بيحكي لها، وبتكتشف هي بعض النقاط او التحديات اللي بتواجهه، وبيكون في تدخل بشكل كويس. يعني عندنا اكتر من حاله كان في تدخل بشكل تربوي، سواء مع الاخصائي الاجتماعي في المدرسه او مع الكابتن في النادي او مع حد كبير في العائله، وتم علاج الامر بشكل لطيف وظريف، ونجحت يعني التجربه. بس طبعا احنا عندنا حساسيه في الصعيد شويه، انه هذه الامور مش بنعرف نناقشها ونفتحها في نقاش عام يعني. فدي بتتم من خلال دورات تدريبيه للامهات، ان انت بتهمسي، بنسميها همسات في اذان الامهات، بتهمسي همسه خفيفه انه ضروره ان الام تكون قريبه جدا من اطفالها، وخاصه البنات والاولاد في سن الطفوله، ان هي تعودهم ان هم يكون عندهم مرجعيه يرجعوا لها في اي تحدي يواجههم، وخاصه لما يكون في خطوره يعني. هو ده المشهد عندنا حاليا يعني. شكرا.
Thank you.
احب اضيف بس لحضرتك دكتور حسين
اتفضلي.
انه عادة من خلال شغلنا في المدارس والحاجات اللي فيها مجتمعات في سن صغير أو سن أكبر شوية، عادة بيكون في جراءة أكبر في حالة إن بيكون الطفل المعرض للتحرش أو المعرض للغلاسة من شخص آخر. لما بيكون ولد بيكون في شجاعة أكبر في المواجهة، لما بتكون بنت بيكون في مشاكل كتير، وممكن نكتم على الموضوع وممكن نقلق من الموضوع والكلام ده كله. وده كتير واضح في المجتمعات بتاعتنا. ممكن نفس الأم اللي هي ابنها اتعرض لتحرش او لحد ضايقه او حد لمس جسمه بشكل مش مناسب، هتعرف تعلي صوتها وتتكلم وتقول وتواجه الشخص اللي قدامها. لكن في حالة انه بنت، لا، هيكون في عندها تردد مش قليل ومش هتقول بشكل سهل. انا بتكلم جوه مجتمعاتنا الشرقية، وده من خلال التقارب الشديد للأمهات اللي عندهم أطفال في المدارس.
ده فعلا صحيح، أنا بتفق مع حضرتك. ممكن يكون في يعني عدم التصرف أصلا لما تكون حالة البنت، أو يختلف التصرف وربما يكون أكثر هدوءا، أكثر حكمة، أكثر دراسة. فأنا متفق مع حضرتك فعلا يعني.
تمام يا فندم.
شكرا.
So Chrissy, Dr. Hussein and Dr. Rose were talking about, Dr. Hussein was saying now in Upper Egypt, so there's a lot more education on the topic of child abuse prevention. And so the way the family system is set up is that the children have very close relationship with their mother, for example. whether boys or girls. So in this case, when something happens, they will run to their mom and tell her, you know, something bad happened, whether it happened at school or at home or wherever. And now there's more, and there were several cases where they took very good action to deal with the situation. And Dr. Rose was saying maybe even in the case where the girls are abused, maybe they are more hesitant even than the boys to say something. Whereas the boys might be more keen to talk about it or to bring it to their parents' attention or to a safe adult's attention. So that's the you know how it's addressed in Upper Egypt. So I wanted to also say something. I'll say it in English and then I will say it in Arabic. So my son told me this joke or this story. I know Dr. Rose is kind of, you know, famous for her amazing stories, but he told me this story and he said, you know, a young man with his father and his grandfather were in a car and they got into a car accident. So the father and the grandfather, they didn't survive, but the son survived. So he was taken to the hospital. And while he was at the hospital, the surgeon came in, took a look and said, I cannot operate on this young man because he's my son. So of course I sat there scratching my head for the longest time, talking to my, you know, looking at my son and saying, I don't get it. I mean, if his father passed away, how could it be, you know, his father was in the hospital. So my son said, Mom, the surgeon was his mom. See, most people, when they think, oh, surgeon, they think automatically a man, right? The father. So the reason why I use that story is because when people think about or they talk about abuse, they oftentimes, the culprit, we often suspect that the culprit is a man. But, and the question here is, what about women? Do women tend to be abusers? I mean, is it possible that when we do train or when we teach our children, that we are emphasizing that they should, you know, behave a certain way or they should practice certain things to stay safe? From anyone who may abuse them, whether it's a man or a woman. But I'm curious also in a society, cultural, conservative society like Egypt, how they view women. I mean, is it kind of under the radar? Does it fall between the cracks? Or do we as a culture and the society understand that abusers can be men or women? So I will just translate quickly in Arabic. كنت بقول في قصة ابني قالها لي يعني هو بيقول إنه زي جوك أو قصة كده يعني مش جوك كان بيقول يعني إن واحد ماشي هو وباباه وجده وعملوا حادثة بالعربية فالجد والأب يعني معاشوش بس الولد هو اللي عاش وراح المستشفى فجد دكتور الجراح بص عليه وقال لا أنا ما أقدرش أعمل العملية عشان ده ابني. فانا قعدت ابص لابني يعني ازاي طب ما باباه توفى يعني ازاي ان هو باباه هو اللي في المستشفى فابني قال لي لا ماما الجراح امه مش ابوه بس احنا دايما لما نفكر يعني مخنا ست على جندر رولز يعني ان الدكتور يبقى جراح يبقى لازم راجل مش ست. السبب اللي انا قلت القصه دي عشان لما احنا بنتكلم على ان اولادنا ممكن بيتعرضوا لاي نوع من الابيوس دايما ممكن يكون مخنا على طول بيروح ان الشخص اللي بيعمل الابيوس ده بيكون راجل مش ست. هل برضو في الحالات دي لما احنا نعلم اولادنا ونديهم توعية لازم نعلمهم ان اي حد بيعملنا وحش او بيأذينا او بيلمسنا او كده سواء راجل او ست ان لازم نكون واعيين ولازم نقول لحد وكده. ليه أنا بقول الموضوع ده كمان علشان في أسر كتير قوي ممكن الأطفال بيروحوا حضانة أو بيبقى في شخص بيراعي الطفل جيران دادة سواء أي ظروف فممكن الأطفال بيتعرضوا للمشاكل دي مع واحدة ست. هل المجتمع بتاعنا ممكن يصدق حاجة زي دي وممكن برضو يتعامل معاه زي لو كان الشخص اللي عمل ده في الطفل راجل؟ حابة أعرف طبعا منكم رأيكم يعني في الموضوع ده.
يعني بصي زمان ما كانش ده في دماغنا قوي يعني كان دايما نركز إنه الشخص اللي ممكن يكون يأذي الطفل على المستوى الجنسي هيكون واحد راجل. وعشان كده كتير من الناس كان مثلا لو في حد بيوصل المدرسة يفضلوا انها تكون واحدة ست، لو كان في دادة في البيت يفضل تكون واحدة ست، لو كان في واحد بيدخل البيت ينظف او الكلام ده كله يكون واحدة ست. الدادات اللي موجودة في الحضانات وفي المدارس يفضل يكونوا ستات. لكن بالوعي للناس ابتدوا يفهموا انه ممكن كمان يكون واحدة ست بس ما تكونش حد كويس، وممكن يحصل انتهاك للطفل، يكون فيه تحرش ويكون فيه اضطرابات جنسية كمان عند الستات مش بس الرجال. لكن برضو يعني لسه في لغاية دلوقتي في نسبة شوية لسه من الأمان أكتر ناحية الستات. يعني لو أنا عندي طفلة في راكبين مواصلة عامة مثلا، فممكن الست اللي معاها طفلتها دي هتسمح لبنتها انها تقعد على رجل واحدة ست، بس مش هتسمح انه تقعد على رجل واحد راجل. هتسمح انه بنتها الاكبر شويه تحضن واحده ست، بس مش تسمح انها تحضن واحد راجل. وده بس ابتدينا نفهم السن ده، يعني كمجتمع ابتدينا نفهم الولاد والبنات والاطفال ذوي الاحتياجات الخاصه انه ما حدش يلمس جسمك او اجزائك الخاصه بشكل معين، بس في بعض المرونه اكتر بتبقى مع الستات.
So I'll translate what Dr. Rose said first. So Dr. Rose was saying, yes, I mean, previously maybe women were not really suspected as being abusers. There was a lot more trust for women in terms of bringing a nanny, housekeeper, the nannies at school, teachers, people to babysit, whatever. Previously, now there's a little bit more education, a little bit more awareness about that. So people are more keen to educate their children to not allow anyone to touch them, or not allow anyone to, you know, see their body. Maybe parents are less nervous when their child is hugging a woman versus hugging a man, you know, or sitting on a woman's lap versus sitting on a man's lap. So there's a lot more education now, of course, on that topic or that subject, but previously, yes. And I don't think this is something just for Egypt. I think this is all over the world, that women tend to not be as suspected when it comes to abuse. I mean, even people would make jokes and laugh if a man came and said I was raped by a woman. It's almost, people might even find it funny, which is not, obviously. But because the idea of a man is physically stronger than a woman, so how could a woman, you know, abuse a man or something? So, or domestic violence. When we think domestic violence, we automatically think men abusing women, not the other way around. So in this case, it's like, because we know the defined gender roles, especially in a very conservative country, and a masculine country like Egypt, I think a man who was abused would have a hard time admitting that. But the reason I'm asking is because, and Dr. Rose also said about also special needs children, because I had heard a story about an orphanage where the administration had found out, because the children were talking among themselves, that one of the young boys in the orphanage was actually having a relationship for a number of years with one of his nannies in the orphanage. And now the boy is like 18, but this relationship started when he was 13 or 14. You know, the way the administration was looking to deal with it was saying, okay, then you need to marry him, you know? And the boy is like, I'm going to kill myself if I can't be with her, and, you know, very attached to her. So again, you know, children that are in those vulnerable situations, whether it be that they are either street children, orphans, special needs, sick children in different hospitals, they may be even more prone to be subjected to a sort of abuse or being taken advantage of. So أنا كنت بتكلم على example بالنسبة أنا سمعت قصة عن طفل في دار أيتام، وهو المدير اكتشف إن هو كان على علاقة مع الدادة اللي في الدار اللي بتاخد بالها من الأولاد، وإن هو الولد دلوقتي 18 أو 19 سنة، بس العلاقة دي بدأت من هو عنده 13 أو 14 سنة. وعشان يقدروا يتعاملوا مع الموضوع قالوا للدادة أنت كده لازم تتجوزوا، يعني لازم تتجوزيه. والولد قال لك انا لو مش هي انا هموت نفسي يعني، لان هو مرتبط بيها ارتباط جامد جدا. بس ده في اي دولة في العالم ده يعتبر يعني abuse، يعني ان هو كان طفل صغير. فاحنا في ظروف زي دي يمكن ده حاجة احنا كمجتمع مش بنحب نتكلم فيه، او موضوع حساس جدا، او موضوع بس مسؤولية علينا اكيد كمجتمع ان احنا نحمي الاطفال، وان احنا نقدر ان احنا يعني نمنع ان الحاجات دي تحصل. فاحب اسمع وجهة نظر يعني اي حد من المشاركين في الموضوع. I was saying I would like to hear any of the opinions of any of the participants with regards to those topics, because we are speaking about some taboo topics or sensitive topics. Like even I will throw one last one، موضوع sibling abuse، يعني موضوع ان ممكن التحرش ده او المشكلة دي تبقى من الاخوات نفسهم، سواء هم اخوات مش اخوات يعني اللي هم في نفس الدار مثلا، او اخوات في نفس البيت من نفس الام والاب. يعني ازاي ان احنا نتعامل بقى مع حاجة زي دي؟ دكتور روز؟
تمام. في الحقيقة طبعا بيجي لنا كتير من الشكاوى، بنكتشف انه ممكن تكون الأم عرفت كمان والأب عرف انه حصل مشاكل جنسية بين الولاد. وبرضه هرجع اقول لما بيكون البنت هي اللي اتعرضت من ده من اخوها، احيانا كتير الام لا اسكتي عيب، هو ما يقصدش، هو ما يعرفش الكلام ده كله، في حين مثلا لو الولدين مع بعض او البنتين مع بعض ممكن يكون هتعاقب الاثنين وهتكون حريصه وهتوعي الاثنين. لكن لما بيكون الجنسين مختلفين ده بيكون فيه برضو بعض الحساسيات. ده من الحالات اللي بتجي لنا، يعني ده اللي بقوله بناء على المشاهده اللي انا شفتها. انا ما شفتش كل الحالات طبعا، بس دول الانطباع اللي انا خدته من خلال تعاملي مع الناس. احنا مهم جدا جدا نوعي ولادنا انه، ونوعي الامهات والابهات في البيوت انه نركز ما نقولش لا اصلهم اخوات، لا اصل دي عمتها، اصل ده خالها، اصل الكلام ده كله. لا، يعني احنا نعلم ابننا انه في مرحله معينه مش مسموح لاي حد مهما كان الحد ده غير ماما بس، وممكن بابا اللي يعني يكون بيقرب وهيقول لك قبل ما يقرب، وماما هتقول لك انا هلمس جسمك، انا هعمل ايه. يعني في مثل حلو انا دايما كنت بعلم بنتي وهي صغيره انه مش مسموح لحد يلمس جسمها يعني. ففي مره كنا عند دكتور الاطفال، فالمفروض اني يعني بخلعها عشان خاطر يبتدي يكشف عليها، فبرفع الهدوم بتاعتها وبتاع، فهي كانت صغيره جدا بتاخد ساعتها تطعيم وبالمره بيكشف. فبقول لها دكتور هاني بس هو اللي مسموح ان هو نرفع هدومنا ويشوف جسمنا. اما بسرعه هو رد عليا، ودكتور ظريف جدا، قال لي وفي وجود ماما بس اللي ينفع دكتور هاني يعمل كده. فدي خلتني انا انتبه انه انا يعني انا بعلم بنتي في البيت محدش يرفع هدومك. ولما رحت عند الدكتور محتاجه انه اقول لها لا كلامي مش بيتكسر، ده انا مستمره على نفس المبدا، بس بقول لك انه مين زياده ممكن يرفع. فرد هو صلح لي المعلومه كمان وقالها لي، ودي كانت حاجه رائعه منه. قال لي وفي وجود ماما بس. هي الفكره كده، التوعيه مهمه جدا جدا جدا، حتى مهما كان الشخص ده مقرب ما يبقاش فيه حرج مننا. احنا مشكلتنا ان احنا بنتكسف، اتكسف اقول لها لا خالها يقول عليه ايه، عليا ايه شاكه فيه، عمها يقول عليه ايه مش واثقين فيه، اخوها يقول ايه بفتح عينيه انا على حاجات وحشه. ما هي دي بقى مشكلتنا ان احنا اللي عندنا مخاوف واحنا بنوعي ولادنا. اتفضلي.
كلام صحيح. So Dr. Rose was saying, yes, I mean, we do come across these problems where even the parents sometimes are aware of it, where there's been abuse among siblings, and how to address the issue or how to deal with it. is tough. And she gave the example of her daughters and how she taught them, you know, not to show their body to anyone, not to, you know, even when they were very young, not to lift their clothes or anything. And at one point, her daughter was getting some vaccinations and a checkup at the doctor's office, the pediatrician. So while she was at the pediatrician, the doctor, the mom said, Dr. Rose said, okay, so we're going to lift our shirt, but only for the doctor because he's going to examine you. And the doctor came and interrupted and said, no, 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 in front of the doctor, but only because mom is there. So he brought it to her attention that, yes, the doctor is checking you, but mom is here, you know, while the doctor is checking you. So bringing that also to the child's attention that, yes, I mean, in this, there's a specific condition, but also it should be where there's also certain safeguards so that a person in a position where they're supposed to be trusted cannot violate the child or abuse that trust to get access to the child. So that's a very important point actually. أستاذ أحمد ما سمعناش من حضرتك النهاردة. حب نعرف طبعا رأي حضرتك في الموضوع ده.
هو طبعا مهم جدا نتكلم مع أطفالنا سواء كانوا أولاد أو بنات. أنا شخصيا عندي ولاد. كنت تملي يعني من ما هم صغيرين بدأت الفكرة لما بنخرج والاولاد بيحبوا يلعبوا هايد اند سيك ويستخبوا في الشوب وكده، فكنت تملي يعني بشتغل على الحته بتاعت خايف اللي هم يتخطفوا او حد ياخدهم ويمشي. فكنت بدات معاهم لو حد شالك لازم تصرخ تصوت، حد غريب انت ما تعرفوش لازم تبقى مش اي حد يشيلك ويمشي. انا بتكلم الكلام دوت على لما كنت بره يعني. بس كنت مثلا لما حد من ولادي بيشتكي من اللي هو مثلا بطنه وجعاه او his private area كنت اقول له خلينا اشوف، بس خلي بالك بس دادي هو اللي هيشوف الحاجات ديت، ما تخافش. بتبقى الاطفال برضو شويه كده يعني confused وشويه nervous، فكنت بشرح لهم ما تخافوش بابا بيحبكم، بس بابا بس هو اللي هيعمل حاجه زي كده لو في حاجه، ولو في مشكله ممكن نروح للدكتور. بعد شويه لما الولاد بدأوا يكبروا لا خلاص، ما حتى انا شخصيا او مامتهم ما بي المواضيع ديت ممنوعه تماما. هم بيخشوا التويليت لوحديهم، هم اللي عندهم مشكله بيجوا يقولوا لنا ايه المشكله بالظبط. ما بقاش في حد مننا بيقرب منهم او الا اذا كانت في حاجه صعبه شويه. فمهم جدا ان احنا نتكلم مع اطفالنا من وهم صغيرين في سن صغير يعني. زمان كان الفكر بتاعنا كان مختلف شويه عن اهالينا. كنت انا قلت الكلام ده قبل كده تاني قبل كده فاقوله تاني. فمهم جدا الثقافه مختلفه. زمان كانت اهالينا بنبقى شويه في متحفظين او خايفين ان احنا نتكلم في حاجه او قلقانين من حاجه، بس لازم نبقى عارفين طبعا اطفالنا بيباتوا فين ومع مين، especially اللي هم الناس اللي هي الريلاتيف، يعني مش معنى اللي هم ريلاتيف او قرايب اخ او اخت فمعنى كده اللي تبقى المواضيع سهله يعني. فده رايي بالنسبه للي حضرتك بتسالني فيه.
Thank you, Ahmed. So Chrissy, Ahmed was saying, you know, because he has boys himself, so he was saying that his children used to play like different games like hide and seek. So he would teach them, you know, while you're playing, if somebody approaches you, a stranger or something, you have to scream, you know. Don't allow anyone to come near you if you don't know them, you know. And he said even when they were very young, Ahmed and his wife would take the children, you know, to the restroom, or they would give them a bath or something. But as they grew older, they started to do all the self-care themselves. So even with with the parents, like it was the children were now independent. They could care for themselves. They didn't. So they reinforced that nobody should see your body, nobody should touch you, nobody should come close to you. So that was all done, you know. And he's saying now there's a different, people are more educated. So maybe from when we were young, it was a different environment or a time. Now, parents are educating their children, and they're making them more alert and vigilant, even when they're with relatives. So knowing where your children are spending the night, who they're with, you know, being even, I think in my case, when I was growing up, I was not allowed to spend the night at anyone's house. So I think it's quite common for Egyptian culture to not allow, especially girls, to spend the night at anyone's house.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a difficult subject because the people that are trying to get to our children have got so many ways of being devious. And as we step up and educate our children, they're learning new ways, like with the internet now. Just remembering things like to tell your children to keep their cameras covered when they're online, if they're playing games and things like that, so people aren't watching them. I think awareness and education is just so important. I don't think we can do it enough for our children. The other thing that Dr. Rose would be able to help with as well is just to explain to people that children that are abused at an early age, and this is something that happened to a friend of mine. Her 16-year-old baby was sexually abused. I didn't even know that people did that to young children. You know, it's beyond me how it could even happen, but it's that way. We have to learn to think differently and be aware that people are trying all sorts of things to get to harm our children, and that's why it's so important, you know. I was going to say about when children are young and their neurons are developing in their brains, if they are abused during that first 7-8 years, it stops the development, and our children don't develop as well as they should emotionally and mentally. So it's just really imperative that we get all parents to do this, and I'm glad to hear that there's so many people here that are doing it and looking after their kids and opening the communication with them. It's just so important.
Thank you, Chrissy. So Chrissy بتتكلم بتقول طبعا هجيب من الآخر للأول. هي بتقول يعني هي مبسوطة جدا إن في أهالي كتير قوي دلوقتي بيكلموا مع أطفالهم عن الموضوع وبيديهم توعية. في ناس كتير بيحاولوا يوصلوا لعيالنا بأشكال مختلفة، يعني دلوقتي كمان عشان احنا through السوشيال ميديا والإنترنت دي قربت أكتر مسافة. يعني ممكن الأطفال مثلا قاعدين في أوضة تانية على الكمبيوتر بيكلموا مع حد، والحد ده بيحاول يوصل لهم وإحنا مش واخدين بالنا وإحنا في نفس البيت بس في مكان تاني. لازم نكون واعيين لده. هي كانت ليها واحدة صاحبتها ليها طفلة صغيرة حصل له البيبي حصلت له التحرش. هي كانت مخضوضة، يعني إزاي حد يفكر يتحرش في طفلة يعني صغيرة. فبتقول مهم ان احنا نحاول نفكر يعني ان في ناس مش طبيعية، يعني في ناس مش بتفكر زي ما احنا بنفكر، علشان نكون واعيين لأي حاجة ممكن يحصل يعني. وازاي الناس دي بيحاولوا يوصلوا مثلا لأولادنا، وازاي ان احنا نقدر فعلا بالفعل ان احنا نحميهم. So Chrissy, would you mind also telling us about how this My Body is My Body program started? I mean, what inspired you to start this program? Why did you develop it? And how do you see it having a big impact?
Okay, well, I actually didn't set out to do this program at all. I went over to America to sing and write songs. But on my way to America, I stopped in England, and there was, in the newspapers, there was a story about this little girl that was beaten. She had cigarette burns, and she finally died by her father kicking her in the head. And she was 4 years old, and it just really affected me because I had a 4-year-old daughter at that time, and I was just looking at my child and thinking, how could anybody do that to a child. It was beyond me. So I wrote a song about it. And I was at somebody's dinner party in Texas, and they asked me to play the piano. So I played the song that I had written, and he asked me if they could use it for Child Abuse Prevention Month. And so I said, yes, of course you can have it. And so we recorded the song and put it out, and we raised $70,000 that month for the children in Texas. But as a side part of that, they asked me to do a tour of Texas and talk to parents and children. And the first day they put me there, and they put me in front of 2,000 children, which was a bit of a shock because I thought it was just going to be small groups. And I just started sharing with the children that I had been sexually abused, how it made me feel, how I got over it, and that it was important to say no and talk about our bodies. And then I sang them some songs. Anyway, as this progressed, we had the Department of Education and people from social services with us for the tour. And we were finding that children, because we were opening up the subject, children were coming forward and saying, I've been abused, can I talk to somebody? And they realized that through using the music, it was doing something different with the children. We were opening up something new. And rather than just going in and giving children a talk, just another boring talk, we were making it fun, and we were making it an experience for the children that they would remember. So they asked me if I would write the songs. And I said, well, if you give me everything you want to put in the program, I will write the songs and develop the program, and then you can see if you approve it. So I did. I worked over the next year, and we put something together, and it was really, really, really successful in America. We were getting around about 15% of the children after a program coming forward with their abuse. As I told you, I did the program to 350,000 children in a 5-year period, which was the most amazing experience. And we broke up a pedophile ring, and all sorts of very positive things came out of doing the program. But I wanted to do more, and I wanted to reach more children. So I learned to animate, and I put the videos on YouTube so that other children could watch it. Because as one person, you can only get to so many children. And then everybody started saying, well, we want it in Arabic, we want it in Spanish, we want it in Portuguese. And so it's now in 19 languages. And we have wonderful ambassadors like Nancy, who are taking the program into their countries and sharing it with education departments, social services departments, schools, teachers, parents. And it's just growing. And if it can be, also it's a free program. It's for everybody. It is free, because I don't want any child or any parent not to be able to have education on this program or about abuse. So that's what it is. It's out there, and it's being used, and hopefully people can build on it. People can educate more, but this is a really good starting point for teaching abuse prevention and body safety.
Great. Let me translate, and then I have a video also I wanted to show. So هي كريسي أنا سألتها السؤال، يعني طب أنتي بدأتي البروجرام ده إزاي؟ يعني إيه اللي يعني يخليكي تعملي بروجرام اسمه My Body is My Body، جسمي هو جسمي، بيعلم الأهالي والمدرسين وكده عن موضوع التحرش أو الأبيوس عامة للأطفال. فهي قالت لي هي جت كده يعني صدفة، هي كانت أساسا مسافرة أمريكا علشان تغني، هي أصلا كانت مغنية يعني مشهورة، وقبل ما تروح أمريكا عدت على إنجلترا، وهي في انجلترا سمعت عن بنت حصل لها ابيوس، كان لقوها يعني جسمها فيه سجاير محروق في جسمها، باباها هو اللي عمل الابيوس، وللاسف الشديد هي ما عاشتش البنت. فطبعا هي كانت شوكت جدا من الموضوع ده، وعملت شويه بحث وعرفت ان الموضوع ده موضوع يعني ناس كتير بتعاني منها، اطفال كتير. فلما راحت امريكا حبت ان هي تعمل بروجرام برضو بتستخدم برضو الميوزك، الاغاني والموسيقى، ان هي تعمل بروجرامز برضو عن طريق الفيديوز، الكرتونز، الانيميشنز والاغاني، ان هي تعلم الاطفال ازاي ان هم يعني يحموا نفسهم، وتعلم المدرسين والاهالي. وكان في تدخل من ناس خبراء يعني في وزارة التعليم هناك في أمريكا، وفي السايكولوجيستس وناس يعني متخصصين للأطفال عشان يعملوا البروجرام دي. هي في خلال 5 سنين قدمت البروجرام دي لأكثر من 350 ألف طفل. منهم كمان هي كانت بتقول للأطفال لما بتقدم البروجرام إن هي وهي صغيرة برضو حصل لها كده مشكلة، يعني المشكلة دي، وأطفال كتير بدأت تتكلم وتفتح عن إزاي إن هم برضو كانوا بيعانوا من المشكلة دي وكده. وحتى اكتشفوا مجموعة من الناس اللي كانوا بيستغلوا الأطفال وكده وقبضوا عليهم. هي مهتمة ان البروجرام ده يعني يتوزع على مدارس، وزارات تعليم، تضامن للأطفال أيتام، أطفال شوارع، في مستشفيات. مهتمة كمان ان يكون في أكتر من لغة. لغاية دلوقتي هو الترجم ب 19 لغة، من ضمن اللغات مصري سوري عربي، واحنا دلوقتي بنخلص الترجمة يكون بالمصري، يعني الدايلكت المصري. وفي سفراء كتير للبروجرام ده في دول مختلفة. هي مهتمة ان البروجرام يكون مجانا، عشان هي مش عايزة اي طفل او اي يعني اهالي او مدارس او كده ما يبقاش عندهم اكسس لبروجرام زي ده بيعلم الاطفال او بيعلم الاهالي ازاي يحموا الاطفال من التحرش. دي حاجة أساسية. أنا هسأل كريسي برضو سؤال، إزاي حد يكون سفير مثلا لو هو اقتنع ببروجرام زي ده، إزاي يكون سفير لبروجرام زي ده، ويكون فولنتير ان هو مثلا يتعلم البروجرام، يبقى معاه في ورك بوكس وفيديوز وكده، ويقدر ان هو نفسه يخش الكوميونتي بتاعه، سواء الجامعة، كنيسة، مدارس، كوميونيتيز لاولاده، يعني للجيران كده يعني. So Chrissy, the question I was going to ask is how can someone actually be an ambassador for such a program, and to be able to also implement it, whether it be to their own family, like their own children and their family, or even to their community, whether through their church, their mosque, through schools, through parent teacher associations, things like that. How can they know more about it, to train for this program, or and to become an ambassador, and also to be able to volunteer to implement it?
Okay, well, we've got 2 short courses that I like ambassadors to do. One is an introduction to child maltreatment, because it's very important people know the depth of what is going on with child maltreatment and to what extent it affects their communities. So that's about a half an hour introduction course, and then there's the other course which teaches them how to teach the My Body is My Body program, which is very important. So it's got tutorials and videos on what to say to the children. It's got lesson plans for the teachers if they want to teach it, and then the songs. So we like the ambassadors to do that first, so when they go out they know what they're talking about, they know how to present the program, they know what to say to their community. And as I say, all the courses and everything for the program is free. So if you would like to join us and become an ambassador, we treasure our ambassadors greatly, and just as I was saying to Nancy yesterday, we were having a good talk about this has to be from the ground upwards. You know, we need to start in the communities and take it to the churches, to the children's sports places, to the schools, to the you know, everything within the community, so the whole community knows what to do, how to react, how to talk to a child that reveals abuse, and that's all in the course. So you know, it's just really important to understand the program and understand how to present and how to talk to your community about it if you're going to be an ambassador. So I'll put the links on the chat, Nancy.
Thank you so much, Chrissy. So هي قالت في دلوقتي هي مقدمة 2 كورسات ببلاش اونلاين. اول كورس حاجة introductory عن المشكلة نفسها اللي هو عدم يعني التعامل مع الاطفال صح يعني او maltreatment, child maltreatment. ودي كورس introductory بس 30 دقيقة بس. والكورس الثاني ازاي ان انت تتعلم البروجرام، فيها tutorials, فيديوز، curriculum, guides ان انت ازاي تعرف البروجرام وكده وتستخدمه مع الأطفال. أنا عايزة أوريكم فيديو يعني I'm gonna share my screen. هوريكم فيديو هي على اليوتيوب، في channel على اليوتيوب وهو مسمينه My Body is My Body Around the World. أنا عايزاكم تشوفوا البروجرام إزاي بيستخدم أو بيتعمل يعني في دول مختلفة. So I was saying, Chrissy, I'm just going to show some videos just to show how the program is administered around the world. They can get it. So just 1 second. Let me. Okay. So this is just one, I believe this was in South Africa, right, Chrissy?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
And I want to show like a kind of classic one. This was in the US. So this is Chrissy. This was one of the early ones, correct?
Yeah.
Every year in Tennessee, there are nearly 30,000 reported cases of child abuse. That means that every 20 minutes, a child is abused either physically, sexually, or emotionally. In this country alone, a child dies from abuse every 4 hours of every single day. The task of dealing with this problem is enormous. With the number of reported cases on the rise and state budgets constantly being cut, Many of these children are falling through the cracks, victims of not only abuse, but also of an inadequate system. Help has to come from an outside source.
We're going to talk about our bodies. We're going to talk about what to do if somebody tries to hurt you.
Meet one woman who's doing what she can to make a difference.
And if you want to be a winner every time, this is what you've got to do. Say no. Just say no. I say.
Chrissy is on a personal crusade. A crusade to help children who are victims of abuse. Using her God-given talent, the South African-born singer spreads her message of help and hope through music and song.
Now what if you're at home and the babysitter's looking at you and they try to touch you under your clothes? What would you do? The program is a positive program teaching kids how to look after their bodies, to prevent sexual abuse, to prevent physical abuse, to build self-esteem in a positive way through music, so it's not scary for them.
So I just want to give you يعني كنت عايزة اديكم فكرة. البروجرام ده لغاية دلوقتي في دول كتير جدا. هنبعت لكم برضو اللينك بتاع My Body is My Body اليوتيوب channel. هتشوفوا ان هو البروجرام اتعمل في دول كتيرة جدا. من ضمن الدول دي السعودية، إيران، باكستان، الهند، نيبال، يعني دول كتيرة جدا استفادوا كتير من البروجرام، وحتى cultures يعني very conservative cultures زي السعودية وزي باكستان. الأطفال كمان عجبهم قوي الفيديوز والميوزك. هوريكم بس واحد أخير في باكستان، هو دقيقة بالظبط، وانتم ممكن تشوفوا البيج نفسكم اليوتيوب channel. شكرا. Chrissy, I give you back the microphone.
Oh, hi. Right. So yes. So we're all around the world at the moment, and we just need more people to be involved, more people to spread the word. And as I say, I think Nancy's doing a stunning job in Egypt, and we're hoping that Rula's going to be working with us, doing some of the Arabic songs. And yeah, I'm very excited to what we're going to achieve in
we have
Egypt.
Dr. Rose as well. Mm-hmm.
Yes, and Dr. Rose. Yes, I mean, we've got a great team. We really do. And I think we're going to do some great stuff in Egypt, and I think it'll be very positive, and teaching the parents that, you know, this all needs to be a positive step. You know, we're not going to take any negativity on board. We're going to just do good positive things with everybody, and make a difference to the children in Egypt, which is what we want to do. We want to change lives. Hey, Nancy.
Yes, I agree. I think, as you can see, I mean, the program has been very effective, and I think the important thing is we're having a dialogue. The important thing is we're having this conversation. We're having this conversation with, you know, our children, with our families, with our communities, with our culture, with our country, you know, our countrymen, about the importance of our children since they are our future, and the importance of keeping them safe. And the reason why, what I like about the program is it's localized. So it's not one size fits all. يعني it's not like إن هم بياخدوا البرنامج بيستخدموا نفس البرنامج بنفس اللغة بنفس الشكل لكل الدول، لأن كل دول ليها عرف أو ليها مثلا دخلة مختلفة. ودي أجمل حاجة في البروجرام إن هو بيبقى localized، يعني بيبقى حسب إيه اللي ممكن يشتغل في البلد دي، بالنسبة للغة، بالنسبة للكاركترز نفسهم بتاع الانيميشن، بالنسبة للطريقة اللي أنت بتعلم البروجرام أو بتقدمها. So I'd like to hear your feedback, of course, or I would like to know if there's questions anyone has for Chrissy or in general for any of our, you know, participants, or if anyone wants to make any statements. So أنا بديكوا دلوقتي فرصة لو حد عايز يسأل أي أسئلة لكريسي أو أي حد من المشاركين، أو هو عايز يعني يتكلم في أي نقطة، أو ممكن يكون حاجة إحنا ما كلمناش فيه. You have
كنت عايز أضيف حاجة مدام نانسي الكلام اللي أنا قلته بالنسبة للسوشيال ميديا. مهم جدا إن إحنا نبقى عاملين فولوز لأولادنا على كل السوشيال ميديا، فيسبوك، انستجرام. فده برضه عشان نبقى عارفين هم بيتكلموا مع مين، نبقى عارفين الفريندز، لو في فيك اكونت نقول له لا ديليت الاكونت دوت. فلازم يبقى الموضوع ده نسيت اتكلم فيه، مهم جدا. شكرا.
شكرا. So Ahmed was saying it's very important to be aware of our children's social media accounts, to also follow that so we know exactly who they're talking to or who they're friends with. So to be alert of that as well.
Very much so, and especially during lockdown, you know, while we're having lockdowns all over the world, and probably will continue to have localized lockdowns as we go, we've got to make sure that we're watching. I think we spoke about it the other week. Make sure you've got your safety protocols on your broadband, on your Google or whatever you use to go online with, and make sure, even look at the apps that your children are using, because each app has got safety protocols that you can put on. And also just search the apps online, because certain apps have got sort of back doors that people can get in and talk to your children privately. So just be very aware of what is on their phones and what and that you've got all the safety protocols on, because as I think I told you this, Nancy, there's a PDF going around that all the abusers are sharing with each other as to what apps to use, how to get in, how to sort of basically trick children into talking to them. And they're very they as quickly as we're putting fires out, there's new things that we've got to learn. So it's not a case of, okay, I've checked my child's phone, everything's fine, it'll be okay from now on. We literally have to do it on a weekly basis and see what is going on, and if they've added new apps, and you know, sort of just be vigilant about the internet. It's really important.
So Chrissy طبعا هي بتأكد كلام أحمد إنه مهم جدا إن إحنا نكون واعيين بأولادنا واستخدامهم على الإنترنت، لأن في ناس كتير هم بيحاولوا بأي وسيلة يوصلوا لعيالنا، وحتى هم اكتشفوا إن في PDF بيلف الناس اللي هم الابيوزرز دول بيبعتوا لبعض ازاي يقدروا يخشوا على اي لينكس او اي بلاتفورمز عشان يوصلوا للعيال، وايه الوسيله اللي ممكن يوصلوا للاطفال. فاحنا لازم نكون واعيين ان الموضوع خطير جدا، ونكون مش بس ان احنا شايفين مثلا الموبايل بتاع اولادنا كفايه، لا لازم نشوف برضو السوشيال ميديا اكونتس بتاعهم، سواء عندهم كمبيوتر او تابلت او كده، ان احنا نتاكد بس ان ما يكونش في حد مثلا داخل لهم على انه هو من سنهم وهو actually حد كبير بيحاول يوصل للاطفال او كده. طيب I have some more questions. I'm curious, because we have, of course, Rose and Rola, and we have Ahmed, and we have Dr. Hussein and Hanan and Mohammed. So for Egypt, I mean, you see this program, how it's been used. We've used it a couple of times here in Egypt in different settings. استخدمنا البروجرام ده في مصر، استخدمناه في دار ايتام، استخدمناه في قرى فقيره في الصعيد، استخدمناه في كنايس، في مدارس، يعني في مناطق مختلفه، وانيشلي كان الفيدباك كويس جدا. انتم متوقعين ان بروجرام زي ده علشان ينجح في مصر، سواء هو البروجرام ده او اي بروجرام زيه، يعني ايه الاليمنتس اللي احنا محتاجينه علشان البروجرام زي ده يكون عليه يعني عنده امباكت كبير لاولادنا، للمجتمع، بالنسبه للموجود كتولز، يعني كسونجز وانيميشنز وكده، يعني بخبرتكم عن الاطفال هنا في مصر وعن المدارس وعن الاهالي وكده، ايه اللي ممكن يخلي بروجرام زي ده او بروجرام يعني شبيه ليه ينجح في مصر؟
في وجهة نظري عشان برنامج زي كده ينجح، هو اوريدي الاطفال بتقدر تستقبله وبتقدر تفهم كويس جدا وبتقدر تستجيب. المشكلة الحقيقية اللي بتواجهنا هي الأمهات والأبهات، يعني الأهالي هي اللي ممكن توقف لنا البرنامج، هي اللي ممكن تقول له عيب انت بتتكلم في ايه، او انت ايه اللي بتقوله ده، او تروح المدرسة او الحضانة تقول ايه ده ايه ده ايه ده ايه اللي انتوا بتقولوه لاولادنا ده، انتوا بتفتحوا عينيهم، احنا اولادنا صغيرين على الحاجات دي، انتوا ما تجيبولهاش، احنا مش مش بنجيب سيرة الكلام ده وما تخليهمش ينتبهوا ليه، ويكون في نوع من السلبية نتيجة المخاوف الموجودة عندهم. فعشان البرنامج ده ينجح حقيقي محتاجين برنامج مصاحب يتوجه لولي الأمر عشان يفهمه ايه أهمية وخطورة انه ابنه ياخد برامج توعية، لأنه الفكرة الأساسية مجرد ما بنيجي نتكلم عن التوعية بالجسم والتوعية الجنسية عند الولاد اللي هم بالذات في السن الحرج، اللي هم صغيرين شوية ومرحلة اللي لسه شوية ما كبروش، اللي هم لسه مش شرط يكونوا يعرفوا، الأهالي بيبقوا فاكرين إنه العيال ما تعرفش، العيال عارفة كل حاجة وإحنا اللي بنقعد معاهم بنبقى فاهمين، بس تيجي الأم متخيلة إنه ابنها ده صفحة بيضاء ما يعرفش حاجة، وإن إحنا اللي بنفتح عينيه على حاجات ما ينفعش نقولها ومش وقتها، ونبتدي ندفن راسنا في الأرض وما نحبش نتكلم في مواضيع زي كده ونعتبرها مواضيع شائكة.
Thank you دكتورة روز. أستاذة رولا؟
أنا حاسة إنه لازم يتلعب على التلفزيون كتير عشان الناس بتتفرج على التلفزيون، الأهالي والأطفال. في برامج كتيرة على التلفزيون للأسف مش مناسبة للأطفال ومش مناسبة خالص أصلا، بس محتاجين التلفزيون المصري محتاج يذيع حاجات مفيدة للمجتمع كله المصري يعني. فأنا حاسة إنه لو اتلعب على التلفزيون، في ناس كتيرة بتتفرج على التلفزيون ويمكن يبتدوا يفهموا ويفكروا في الموضوع ده، ويفكروا إن هم يكلموا أولادهم في الحاجات دي، وبعدين كده يعني. والأغاني بعدين تتلعب، الفيديوهات وكده.
هل محتاجين أغاني تانية أو فيديوز تانية، أو بتتكلم مثلا في مواضيع تانية عن ال6 فيديوز اللي موجودة؟ يعني مثلا هل في مواضيع خاصة بينا احنا ككولتشر أو موجود في مصر ولازم ندرس، ممكن يكون مش موجود في إنجلترا، مش موجود في أمريكا؟
ممكن انترفيوز مع ناس زيكم كده بيتكلموا عن الحاجات دي ويفهموا الناس المشاهدين على الحاجات دي، يفهموهم أكتر يعني، مش بس الأغاني لوحدها يعني، برامج يعني مخصوصة.
ممتاز. اوكي. So I was asking Chrissy, I was asking Dr. Rose and also Rola about in order for the My Body is My Body to be to have a great impact in Egypt and to have, you know, a great effect on the children and to be accepted well, what would be your suggestions, like, to make it you know, more acceptable? And Dr. Rose was saying, like, yes, I mean, we need programs like this, that it can be very useful, of course, for our society here, you know, to talk about the subject more. And Rola was saying, yes, I mean, it should be, things like this should be played more on television, like, whereas unfortunately, and this is true, that the Egyptian television, sometimes children end up watching things that they should not be watching. They're not child appropriate. I know there's one, like, without mentioning names, but there's this, like, prankster guy. He does this, like, show every year. I think, Rola, you were thinking about the same. Because
exactly. Oh my God.
Yes, that is so inappropriate for children.
I'm so surprised that they have this on Egyptian television. I'm so surprised that it is still being aired on Egyptian television.
Every year.
So inappropriate. It's so, it's not done.
Yeah.
It's in bad taste. It's really in bad taste.
Very in bad.
And the children are watching, the parents are watching, and the parents are allowing their children to watch such things. So the kids are going to think it's okay to do that.
Yeah. And they're normally doing dangerous stunts and things like that too, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah, they're terrorizing people and dangerous things that are not really funny. It's not funny at all.
No. And usually
when someone is scared for their lives and, you know, and scared that they're going to die and for a long time, it's not funny.
No. And when they have these sort of shows with any even similar theme anywhere in the West, usually they say this is not for a child-friendly audience, like, this is for adults only, and please do not try this at home, this is dangerous, blah, blah, blah. Like, they always put this, like, disclosure in the beginning, which doesn't make it any better because the kids still have access to it. But I think what Rola was saying, which I totally agree, is we need more kid-friendly content, you know, for television. We need, even as commercials, like between shows, popular shows, like having, you know, like a My Body's My Body video or something, you know, in between, so that you already have the children's attention. They're sitting in front of the television, and then they kind of start to hear this. And this is something we don't have a problem with in Egypt, repeating the commercials over and over again. Because even like, you start to memorize the commercials, you're like, and then you for that, like Birsil, or I don't know,
that
like,
would be,
you know,
that would be great, because if you had it as in between programs, then people could talk. You know what I mean? It would just, again, initiate the subject.
Yes.
اللي عايزه اقوله انه حتى لو كان في خطوات بطيئه او خطوات قليله، لكن هي في خطوات فعليا. يعني مثلا من ضمن الحاجات الفتره اللي فاتت كانت ناشطه بشكل كويس، في حاجه اسمها مركز الدعم والارشاد النفسي، ده تبع وزاره التربيه والتعليم. مجموعه الاخصائيين النفسيين اللي تبع وزاره التربيه والتعليم عاملين حاجه اسمها مركز الدعم والارشاد النفسي. بنعمل زي بوسترات وشويه حاجات نقدر نحطها على موقع الوزاره، على موقع التربيه والتعليم، وتعمل لها شير بقى في كل المديريات التعليميه والمواقع المدارس والكلام ده كله، بحيث تبقى فيها جزء مش قليل. ومن اهم الموضوعات اللي شغالين عليها بقالنا يمكن اسبوعين دلوقتي فكره التعرض للتحرش، هي سمات الشخص اللي بيتحرش، اعمل ايه لو ابني حصل له تحرش، والحاجات الخاصه برضو بفكره التحرش اللي جاي من خلال الانترنت او الميديا.
Do you think كنت عايزة أسأل سؤال. Do you think إن دلوقتي بما إن موضوع الدروس الخصوصية دي شبه يعني المفروض إن هي هتتلغى أو يعني أقل من زمان، do you think إن برضو دي حاجة كويسة ممكن تقلل برضو الإكسبوجر اللي الأطفال يعني بيتعرضوا ليه من ناحية التحرش، أو يعني، ولا do you think إن ده ما كانش مكان؟
يعني أنا في وجهة نظري إنه مش القضية الحقيقية في المتحرش شخص جبان. ممكن يكون مريض، ممكن يكون مضطرب، بس في الآخر هو شخص جبان. مجرد ما في صوت عالي قدامه هو بيبعد. فأنا شطارتي مش إني أفصل، يعني حلو كويس فصلنا، مبقاش فيه دروس خصوصية، الطفل مش بيتعرض للمدرس اللي كان في احتمالية إن ممكن يكون بيتحرش بيه. بس هل ده معنى الحماية؟ يعني مش هو ده المنطق. المنطق ان انا اعلم ابني ان شاء الله يكون فين، هيعرف يقول لا بصوت عالي، هيعرف يجري، هيعرف يطلب معونة، لانه ده ممكن يكون في اي مهنة وعلى مستوى اي شخص. احنا مش هنمنع الولاد انهم، مش هنحبسهم في البيت، مش هنحطهم في قفص ونعين عليهم حراسة. احنا محتاجين نعلم ولادنا ازاي هم يحافظوا على نفسهم، وهم اللي لو حصل معاهم حاجة يتصرفوا ازاي. ولو ما قدروش يتصرفوا واضطروا انهم يقعوا تحت المشكله دي او تحت الضغط النفسي ده، يجوا يحكوا لنا ونقدر نعمل لهم، احنا كمان نعمل لهم سبورت، مش ان احنا كمان ننهار جنبهم ونبقى مش عارفين نتصرف ازاي. ما هي دي المشكله، هي دي المشكله الحقيقيه، انه الطفل واسرته تتصرف ازاي. لكن الشخص المتحرش ماشي، ده ليه برنامج تاني لوحده خالص.
So the question was, we were talking about like here, what was really common in Egypt was like private tutoring, you know, for a lot of the kids, because they needed extra help with their education. So many of the kids would end up having to go to private tutors, and oftentimes that would be either in the tutor's home or the tutor would come into the child's home. Oftentimes the parents will leave the child with the tutor and maybe go do something or whatever, so assuming they're studying. So I was saying, do you think now, because our Minister of Education, he's kind of trying as much as possible to stop that, where there's less private tutoring and more, you know, strengthening the education system so that that's not required for students to be able to pass, and at the same time making, cracking down on teachers that are going and offering, you know, private tutoring. And the question was, does this help keep the children more safe so they're less susceptible to this abuse from those people? So Dr. Rose was saying, actually, the burden is on the parents. Yes, the victimizers or the abusers, they're scared. A lot of them are very scared. They're very weak. Like if a child screams, they would really get scared and run, you know, cowards. But and keeping them away from the child, or keeping, you know, that's obviously very good, but the most important thing is arming the children or teaching them how, in any given situation or in any environment where they would know how to identify that there is abuse happening, and then what to do in that case, like how to defend themselves. And to stop the abuse and to tell someone. So the burden again, or the importance, is on the families to get them to educate their children so that the kids are alert and vigilant, and not to be abused. أحمد توفيق، أنت كان عندك سؤال أو تحب أن أنت تضيف حاجة عن الموضوع؟
مساء الخير دكتورة نانسي، ومساء الخير لضيوفك.
مساء الخير.
أنا في الحقيقة كنت عايز أضيف، يعني هو الكلام اللي اتقال كله يعني ممتاز ورائع، بس كنت عايز أضيف حاجة بالنسبة لل body my body. يعني إحنا عايزين نوصل إن إحنا نعلم الأطفال، صحيح؟ لو دخلنا بشكل مباشر زي ما واجه حضراتكم التحديات، وزي ما قالوا الأساتذة إن هو بيلاقي الأهالي بيقولوا لا أنتوا بتفتحوا عين الأولاد، أنتوا كذا أنتوا كذا. طيب كمان في الحته بتاعت ان احنا ندخل من ناحيه وزاره التربيه والتعليم ونبتدي ندخل من عندها. يعني انا بس عايز اضيف حاجه، ان ليه ما نستخدمش المدربين اللي هم دلوقتي منتشرين جدا بتوع التربيه الايجابيه وخلافه. ممكن نستخدم الافراد دي، دول بيبقى علاقاتهم مع اولياء الامور قويه جدا، وبيسمعوا كلامهم وبينفذوا اللي بيقولوه، وممكن يبقى برنامج معاهم. كمان يعني ده اضافه بقى وعرض. يعني احنا بنطلب ان احنا ناخد البرنامج عندنا على ضربنا شكرا، ويبقى ليه سيشن واحده، ونعمل له الدعايه الكافيه بتاعته، وان احنا نزود حضور كتير جدا من الجروبات المتخصصه برضو في تربيه الايجابيه وازاي تعلم ابنك في المنزل واسماء كتير يعني، لكن كلها بتصب في حته واحده ان هم بيتعاملوا مع الاطفال. فنقدر نجيب منهم ناس كتير ونقدر نوصل لشريحه كبيره من خلال السوشيال ميديا. دي جزئيه بس ده حبيت اضيفه بس مع الكلام اللي اتقال يعني من حضراتكم. شكرا.
هي الفكرة دي فندم محتاجة تدخل من حضراتكم، يعني حضراتكم تعملوا تواصل بشكل مباشر مع العلاقات العامة في وزارة التربية والتعليم، لكن أنا كأخصائي جوه مدرسة مش من حقي أدخل أي حد إلا بإذن الوزارة، وخاصة في المدارس الحكومية. يعني بالأحرى دلوقتي حتى المدارس الخاصة ما أقدرش أدخل حد.
أنا مش هدخل المدرسة، أنا مش هدخل المدرسة يا أستاذة روزا.
نعم؟
أنا مش هدخل المدرسة.
أي تعاون
أنا هخاطب ولي الأمر،
يبقى من خلال وزارة التربية والتعليم. يبقى الأولى إن إحنا نعمل الشغل ده، نروح للعلاقات العامة في وزارة التربية والتعليم نقول لهم إحنا عندنا برنامج اسمه كذا 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 كذا، ونقدر نتعاون معاكم من خلال كذا، عندكم إيه أدوات نقدر نوظفها معاكم. يعني دي أنا بفكر مع حضرتك بصوت عالي، ممكن يكون خطوة من ناحيتكم تعملوا إيه.
وانا فعلا انا بتناقش مع حضرتك يعني كتفكير بصوت عالي. التجارب الحاليه في مصر اثبتت، احنا بنشتغل في العمل المجتمعي، اثبتت ان الحكومه ما بتخلصش البرامج دي بسرعه، اللي بيخلصها منظمات المجتمع المدني هي اللي بتشتغل
بس
وهي اللي
لازم
بتخلص
باذن
كل حاجه.
الحكومه، لازم باذن الحكومه. انا كمان كنت بشتغل في كاريتاس، وكنا بناخد مشاريع تبع المجلس القومي للامومه والطفوله، وما فيش مشكله، وبنطبقها في الصعيد، وبنطبقها مع اماكن حكوميه وكل حاجه. لازم تحت اشراف الجهه الحكوميه دي، وحضرتك اللي بتطبق، بس لازم تاخد اذنهم، لان هم اللي بيبقوا رقيب على حضرتك، هم اللي يقدروا يقولوا انه حضرتك بتقدر تنفذ الهدف الحقيقي، مش هدف تاني، مش هدف مختلف، مش هدف جوه هدف. فالفكره كلها انه هو ده اللي بقوله لحضرتك، تواصل مع التضامن الاجتماعي عشان الحضانات، وتواصل مع وزاره التربيه والتعليم عشان المدارس، هتقدر توصل بشكل جيد جدا جدا جدا. افتكر كده يعني، ده وجهه نظري، وبرده طبعا حضرتك ادرى مني بالجزئيه الاداريه دي.
طيب احنا نحاول نتواصل في القصه دي ونشوف لو فعلا محتاج من ان هو موافقه معينه، لا نحاول نجيبها ونقدر يعني نساعد بقى في ان احنا نوصلها للناس بشكل كبير.
هو زي ما بقول لحضرتك كده، لما بتيجي بشكل رسمي وبشكل من فوق الدنيا بتختلف. فيعني خش على الموضوع من فوق شويه، يعني من العلاقات العامه في الوزاره نفسها، بحيث تبقى الدنيا عندك منتشره وحضرتك منتشر في كل المحافظات، فده هيدي لك فرصه احسن للانفتاح، وهتكون انت هم بقى هم اللي هيفتحوا لك المدارس. انا النهارده عشان اخش مدرسه اطبق استماره وانا طالبه دراسات عليا، لازم اجيب موافقه من الجامعه وموافقه من وزاره التربيه والتعليم. انا رايحه اطبق استماره، مش هروح اعمل حاجه، ومدرس الفصل بيكون قاعد. لكن بقول لحضرتك في يعني عشان اتواصل مع اولياء امور بتوع الولاد، يعني اي احتكاك من خلال بشكل غير شخصي وبشكل جماعي، لازم يكون ليه قنوات معينه واجراءات معينه، معلش روتينيه شويه، لكن هي ليها وجهه نظر وليها منطق في الحقيقه يعني.
So the discussion, Chrissy, between Mr. Ahmed Tawfiq and Dr. Rose was about the topic of how to approach like the students or the parents. And Dr. Rose was saying that it's important to go through like the authorities, whether it be like the Ministry of Education or Social Solidarity, depending on who you're trying to approach, whether it be like school children or children in an orphanage. It has to go through the proper channels. Like Dr. Rose said, she worked with Caritas. And even though they were doing a lot of work with children in Upper Egypt, they still had to get certain permissions or to kind of work through the government entities. Even it's a bit bureaucratic, but it's a proper way to go so that they understand why you're reaching out to the children or to the parents, and what the information is that you are actually sharing with the people and stuff. So even though, because Mr. Ahmed was saying it's important, and he felt it's very effective to do things on a grassroots level, which is very true. And we've seen this in Egypt. It's the most effective way is through the grassroots efforts, but still you have to have it under the supervision or under the patronage of like a government entity. in order to be able to get access to the schools and to the students. And this is exactly what we are doing actually here in Egypt. For example, we have prepared letters, and we have already delivered letters to the Minister of Education, Dr. Tariq Shawqi, and we've also delivered letters to the Minister of Social Solidarity, Dr. Naveen. So we're reaching out to the government entities and informing them about the program. With regards to grassroots, we're talking about like working with local NGOs that are on the ground, and they already work with, let's say they are specific to domestic violence or FGM or child abuse prevention, like they have a specific, mandate. It's great to work with them, because what they do too is they work with local people. Like they'll work with moms, for example, in Upper Egypt, and those moms are the ones that go like from to their neighbors to talk about like the dangers of issues like FGM. So for the ladies to hear from their neighbors and their peers is a lot easier for them to accept the information than for someone showing up in a suit from Cairo or from another country and kind of, telling them this is what needs to be, what is acceptable and what is not. Whereas when somebody who is their neighbor, somebody they know, somebody they trust, comes and explains to them and convinces them about the dangers of such practices like FGM, for example. So this is where the effects of grassroots. And Mr. Ahmed was also talking about how getting the message out about my body is my body more to people so that more people know about it. And I completely agree. I mean, of course, Mr. Ahmed, of course, like Darabni Shukran is one of like the sponsors or one of the partners for One4All and the Safe Kids program. So we always welcome you to invite your participants or your members to join. And also we don't mind to have also sessions during the time that you're also, having joint sessions. We don't mind that at all. We're open to that because the objective is we want to get the message out to as many people as possible, and we want more people to know about the program, and we want more people to be involved. So أستاذ أحمد أنا كنت بقول يعني بالنسبة لكلام حضرتك احنا طبعا انتوا شركاء يعني كضربني شكرا معانا في One4All وفي السيشنز، وطبعا احنا بندعيكم. احنا طبعا كل يوم الأربعاء من 7 ل 9، وبس كان في اجازات عشان العيد، بس احنا طبعا نتمنى ان انتوا تدعوا المشاركين تبعكم علشان يحضروا السيشنز، وبرضو في المستقبل ممكن نعمل joint sessions مع بعض برضو يعني في الوقت اللي انتوا already تكونوا مثلا عاملين session وكده، علشان الهدف الأساسي ان احنا عايزين أقصى نسبة ناس يعني أقصى ناس يعني تعرف عن البروجرام ويبقى فيه تأثير أكبر على المجتمع. ده الهدف الأساسي. وإحنا already تواصلنا مع الوزارات المختصة زي وزارة التعليم والتربية ووزارة التضامن، بعتنا لهم جوابات واتكلمنا معاهم. أنا شخصيا اتكلمت مع الوزير فيس تو فيس، وزير دكتور طارق، واتكلمت مع الدكتور نيفين عن طريق السوشيال ميديا، وهي مرحبة ان الفيديوز لما تخلص. يعني احنا دلوقتي بنسجل الأغاني بالمصري دايلكت المصري، ولما الأغاني تخلص ويحصل الانيميشن للفيديوز والكرتونز تبقى كاملة اللي هم 6 كرتونز، ساعتها احنا طبعا هنعرض ده او هنقدمه للوزارات مجانا علشان يقدروا يستخدموه سواء في المدارس او في التلفزيون او في الملاجئ او الحاجات اللي هي يعني تحت الرعاية بتاعتهم. فدي هدف الأساسي، ودي اللي احنا شغالين عليه حاليا، وإن شاء الله زي ما البروجرام already مع 11 أو 19 لغة، منهم اللغة العربية بس عربية فصحى. فإحنا طبعا مهتمين إن يكون في Egyptian dialect ويكون الكاركترز كمان شكلهم مصريين، لأن إحنا عايزين الأطفال يقدروا إن هم to relate للفيديوز و to relate للسونجز. ده مهم جدا بالنسبة لنا.
حلو قوي، ده مجهود حلو قوي
تمام
يعني.
يا
ان شاء الله
دكتورة.
بالتوفيق يعني.
سير زوعك. حد حابب يضيف حاجة قبل من نخلص السيشن يعني في نهاية السيشن. I'm saying, would anyone like to conclude or to add anything before we end our session for tonight about this? Maybe things we can think about also for next week.
بس شكرا على المجهود والاستمتاع اللي بنشوفه في اللقاء مع حضراتكم.
Dr. Rose said she wants to thank us. Thank you, Chrissy, for this wonderful session and for all the valuable information that you have provided.
شكرا يا نانسي، شكرا.
You're muted, Chrissy. Sorry.
I just wanted to say thank you to Dr. Rose and thank you to everybody that contributes on a weekly basis. I mean, it's really important what we're doing, and I really am thrilled at the support in Egypt, and whatever I can do to help make this a success in your country, I will do. And as I say, I just wanted to say thank you to all of you for being so supportive. It's a big privilege for me to be able to work with all of you.
So do you think you'll be attending the launch, Chrissy, in Cairo, Egypt?
If I'm not stuck here in England because of COVID, yes, I'll be there. I would love to.
Thank you. We would love to have you, of course.
Oh, thank you. Yes. No, we'll make a plan. Make a plan. As soon as we can start to travel again.
Inshallah. You have to get used to saying inshallah.
Inshallah.
Yes, which means God willing.
Inshallah. There you go. You're going to have to teach me some Arabic.
Lola, have we converted you?
Of course. Anything that has to do with children and manners and good behavior and taking care and safety and all that, and music, of course, that's me.
Yeah. The most important, the music as
Positive.
Well. Yeah. Oh, lovely. Well, thank you, Nancy.
Well, before we end,
for doing this again. You are, yeah?
Before we end, I'm going to end on a little bit of a surprise. You know me, I'm always surprises. And this time it's a nice video on YouTube, a short one, but I am putting everyone here on, I love to put people on the spot. It's just me. But I want to share a video that I really love with you guys. Just 1 second, let me grab it. Okay, I found it. So now I'm going to share my screen. Okay.
Yay! My boys! Thank you, Nancy.
Oh, thank you.
And I can see the world that's waiting up for me.
That's
that I
Tanim.
call my own.
Is that him singing?
Yeah, maybe he was 8.
No one's been before, but it feels like home.
Like mother, like son.
They can say it all sounds crazy. They can say I've lost my mind. I don't care, so call me crazy. We can live in a world that we design. 'Cause every night I'm lying in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me awake.
That's my older son.
Oh, I love you.
I think of what the world could be. the world we're gonna make. There's a house we can build, every room inside is filled with things from far away. The special things I compile, each one there to make you smile on the rainy day. They can say it all sounds crazy. They can say we've lost our minds. I don't care, so call me crazy. Run away to a world that we design.
'Cause every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me awake. I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. Oh, a million dreams for the world we're gonna make.
However big, however small, let me be part of it all. Share your dreams with me. You may be right, you may be wrong, to say that you'll bring me along to the world you see, to the world I close my eyes to see. I close my eyes to see.
Every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head.
A million dreams are keeping me away.
A million dreams.
Dreams of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. A million dreams for the world we're gonna make. For the world we're gonna make.
That's beautiful. Oh,
Thank
that
you.
made me want to
Thank you.
cry.
Nice surprise.
That's lovely. Oh, you must be so
ما شاء
proud,
الله.
Rula.
Yeah,
ما شاء
thank
الله.
you.
ما
Thank you
شاء
so
الله ما
much.
شاء الله.
شكرا.
جميل قوي قوي، ربنا يخليهم لك.
ربنا يخليكم، شكرا قوي قوي.
ربنا
ابني
لا
يحفظك.
الكبير
جميلة، ما
خلاص
شاء الله،
رايح
ربنا
الجامعة
يخليهم لك.
بعد 9 أيام هيسافر، فأنا بقى هقعد أقلق عليه. My older son is going to college in 19 days to Hungary. He's traveling soon, so I'm going to be worried again about him. And anyway, thank you so much for playing that. It was nice meeting you all.
Thank you so much. Yani, this is how should I say? Yani, it's like converting the Pope to Catholicism. You know, it's like we have yani the most amazing talents in Egypt, as you can see from Rola, how beautiful her song is.
Absolutely.
And I have
Beautiful
to
voice.
yes, and I have to say that I strongly believe that people meet for you know, everything is preordained by God. That's my belief. So people meet for a reason, and I have a lot of I'm very optimistic and ambitious that inshallah we'll be able to create something really great together. I'm not putting you on the spot, Rola, of course. But I mean, I can beg. I'm not too proud, you know.
You don't have to.
I love your voice. It's really, it just moves me. Goosebumps. And you know, it's especially really important because, you know, a mom with her children, I raised my kids as a single mom, and my kids have lived now in the US and they're far away from me, and I know how important that is, that bond between the mom and her children. And I know that this is key to keeping our kids safe, is always having that strong bond and that loving relationship, so that the kids know that they can always come to their mom, you know, for help, and that we're there always to keep our kids safe, you know. So I had to share that. I thought that was like a great way to kind of end the night. And
it was brilliant.
Thank you. Thank you.
So without further ado, I guess if anyone has anything to finish with, or I will end the session. Thank you so much for joining us. And we look forward to seeing you next Wednesday, inshallah, for a Safe Kids session from 7 to 9. It's every Wednesday. And then this Friday, we also have our Raha Nafseya, which is Serenity session, which is mental health support group session to help everyone get through this very difficult time. And so we thank you guys and we look forward to seeing you guys again very soon. Anyone want to say anything, or should I end the session?
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye. Lovely
Goodbye,
to see
Nancy.
you all. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Nice to see you.
Bye, Nancy.
Bye. Thanks, Nancy.
Bye, Nancy.
Bye.
Bye, Chrissy.
Bye.
Salamat Ahmad, Rose, Muhammad, Dr. Rose.
See you.
Dr. Rose.
No, just roses, okay?
See you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mrs. Hanan,
Bye.
Mr. Ahmad.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. Bye.